Hi, my friends. Dorothy here. We're going to talk about the full moon lunar eclipse that is on March 13th if you're on the west coast of the US, and it will be on March 14th if you're on the east coast like I am of the US. We also have within 24 hours Mercury retrograding with this eclipse, as well as this eclipse, of course, is with the lunar nodes. That's what an eclipse that shows us an eclipse. I'll share my screen with you. And yeah, we have that opportunity to really dig in deep for Saturn is with this eclipse. It's with the sun. South node is with the moon in Virgo. Okay, that's enough astrology. I want to talk about how we're going to process this, how we're going to use this in the best way possible. And one of the key components of a full moon in Virgo, which we have once a year, is to stop and pause and to assess and even to reassess. And I could say reassess right now because we have Venus retrograde. And again, within 24 hours of this eclipse, Mercury is also retrograde. You can see where my mouse is moving right now. And you can see it's stationary and it's gone retrograde. And so with these two planets retrograde and this full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo, it's asking us to reevaluate what's going on in our own lives. Now, I know there is just, of course, who doesn't know what's going on in the world and in our country? And it's too much. It's too much. It's overwhelming. And there's no doubt. And that's all the Pisces that's going on. And I'm not asking you to take on the world. Excuse me. I am asking you to, this eclipse will show us or bring to our attention where we're overwhelmed, where we're focusing on too much. And when it does that, it helps us to, it gets us to a point where all of a sudden we realize, oh, this is too much. And it can be the news and all of the political upheavals that are going on in the world, all of the things that make you feel insecure or make you feel elated, but there's just a lot of all of that, right? And so when we have this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, with the south node, with Saturn at the sun, with two planets retrograde, Mercury and Venus retrograde in Aries, this brings up all of those stressors and worries, brings to our attention what has come to a head. Something has to come to a head for us to all of a sudden finally just stop and say, whoa. And it's important. I'm not telling anybody to put their head in the sand, but I'm also telling you not to go fight every battle that stirs you up, because our nervous systems are just fried right now. And not everybody, of course, but I know more people than not that their nervous system is just absolutely fried. So the most simplest thing can just really spin us all out. And this is astrology. And this is why I'm talking about this, and is because I want us to focus on this full moon in Virgo. Because Virgo is about our health and our wellness and our everyday lives. Our work, what's your work stress is one question. No, not everything is for you. Because again, some of this Virgo means many things. You choose what's most important for you. Just like I want us to start to slow down and reevaluate because of these two retrograde planets during this eclipse, to reevaluate where you're taking on too much. And we're going to sift and sort through that. And then we're going to hone in on one or two things to make changes and to worry about. Can't worry about everything. And if we stop long enough and just pick what is more manageable, what has a closer connection to our hearts, this is how we can use this full moon Virgo, this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. By taking that and getting rid of too many things. Can only focus on so much, only focus on so much. And I want you to bring that back to now, because Virgo is about feeling grounded, and one of the main things I love about Virgo is like it is our everyday habits and patterns. It's an earth sign. It's a mutable earth sign. And that just means it's like, I want a regular pattern that flows. And so if your routine has gotten out of whack, or your immune system, your nervous system, your adrenals have gotten way too off the rails, this full moon, you're going to hear this ahead of time. I don't post these things on the day of the full moon. I post these a week or two ahead of time, and this is going out 10 days before. So when you're focusing on, when things get too ahead, that's what this full moon will show us. Something will happen that will put you down, whether you don't feel good and now you're sick for days because you're so run down that you can't take care of yourself, or you have too much work and you explode. The exploding is the retrogrades in Aries right now. You're getting this 10 days ahead of time. Where I was going with that is that you have a heads up. Stop right now, as soon as you hear this, and commit to yourself, to anybody else, that you're going to stop doing too much, and you're going to bring your energy back to you, and you're going to start working on some new healthy habits. Just take one thing, because we don't have to do it all. If you take one thing and feel more in control of at least one thing that feels out of control, and again, focus on something that's important for you, whether it's more work, more exercise, better diet, less food, whatever it happens to be for you, I want you to take the time with this eclipse and focus on that. To me, that is like imperative. Those are the big things when it comes to this full moon lunar eclipse. It's huge, and we all need an opportunity here to focus in on that. I'm going to stop my share for a second. So I want you to, like I just said, organize and start to release some things and start focusing on one thing. The energy of this eclipse, with in Virgo, as well as Saturn with the sun, is bringing us an opportunity that we can feel more practical, find that better routine, feel more organized. And that is what we really need to do when it comes to that. So our health, our work routine, our daily routine, how productive are we? It's all of those things. So that work productivity, really, really important for a lot of us. I mean, if you just have too much to do and you just can't keep up with it, it's certainly not going to be helpful, especially for your health and wellness and your well-being. Something else that this full moon eclipse can do is show us, because full moons always show us what's going on. It's the full light. Every month we get this, but the eclipses definitely give us a turbocharge, right? But are you being a perfectionist as well? It can show you where you've been focusing too heavily and not allowing things to flow enough, but being such a perfectionist that you get frozen and you're not able to accomplish things. So overthinking, too critical of yourself or of a situation. So unrealistic expectations. So this full moon lunar eclipse will show us where that is, so you can stop and pause and take a step back. So there's that with work. Now, let's focus as well on decluttering, because that's always something that's really good to do when the moon is in the sign of Virgo. Just prioritize a period of time once a week or whatever to declutter if that's something that you want to do. Again, this full moon will show you. This full moon is on Thursday night, Friday morning, right into a weekend. So you might find time and find the opportunity there to declutter something. Yeah. And that is one of the bigger things that we have to do with that. What else do I want to say here? I want to show you as well. Let's go back to the charts and make sure I have the right share up. There we go. I did not. There we go. Now, this full moon is part of the lunar gestation cycle, which I love to talk about over in Patreon. Patreon, you all get this first. And the lunar gestation cycle is a cycle that takes 3 years. And it's 4 of the lunar phases. It starts with the new moon first quarter, full moon last last quarter back to the new moon. It's all in the same area of the astrology. And so if we're at a full moon right now, that means 18 months ago, we had a new moon that is very much associated with this eclipse. And so I want us to look at that and see what those are. And I will pull those two charts up now. And the first time we had the energy of this degree of Virgo, because this lunar eclipse is at 23 Virgo, the first time we had energy around that was the new moon. Here it is. Pull that up for you now. There it is, the new moon in Virgo. It was at 21 degrees, almost 22 degrees of Virgo. All right, so I want us to look back, and that was September 14, 2023. So a year and a half ago, so 18 months ago, we had a new moon that you set intentions on and focused on and to figure out what was best for you, right? In regard to the things I've just laid out for you and what Virgo is. And look at that, even on that day, we had Mercury stationary. That's not always the case when it comes to eclipses that we have, or new moons that we have Mercury stationary. But that's just what happened 18 months ago. We had Mercury stationary as well. It was going direct on that day, I do believe. Let's double check. I don't want to misspeak. It is stationary. Yeah. And so, yeah, there's a lot of information. The reason I'm focusing on Mercury a little bit here too is because, Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. And so when we look at that zodiac sign, what planet's in charge, and they give us a lot of insight around that. And that's what we're focusing on here, especially, okay, is information, communication, etc. And so go back to September 14, 2023, and look at your journals. What did you initiate? What was begun back then? What were you honing in and focusing on? What new habits were you interested in making? And we go from there. 9 months after that would be June 14, 2024, when we had the first quarter moon at 23 degrees of Virgo. At that point, things would have been growing, but things that weren't working, you were just going to say, yeah, I don't need that. Off it goes. And you would work hard towards the goals that you had set 9 months prior to this date. And then here we are, once again, back to the full moon lunar eclipse on March 14th at 23 degrees of Virgo. And that's where we're really assessing what's going on in our lives. Yeah, assessing where those details are. I'm going to show you something here. And really assessing where we need the changes, what habits need to be shifted, let go of bad habits so we can pick up new habits. That's what is going to go on here. And right here, I just want you to see this. Here's where the moon is on all three different occasions, 18 months ago, 9 months ago, and the eclipse that we have on March 14. So you can see there's the moon. The sun is what's shifting. But the moon is having its lunar events all within about 5 or 6 degrees. Here, it's really tight this time around. Find 23 degrees of Virgo in your own astrology chart and figure out what that is. This is my North Node, so there's something going on here. I know exactly what's going on here. So it's for me, for my own habits and patterns. And it's about Virgo things. It's about food and health and wellness and daily habits. Yeah, it's about that for me. So if you like, tell me below what you think it is for you. If you're on Patreon, I'll start a community conversation about that. And when this gets to YouTube, I also have a community over there, just anybody. There's thousands of people that follow over there. I will start a little conversation over there too, if you want to join us there too. Just let me know what it is, what it feels like to you. What is that like? What are you focusing on? It's simple. It does not have to be overcomplicated when it comes to events and occurrences like this, because we know we're all in overwhelm, and we know people are feeling pretty divisive and feeling pretty stressed and uptight and uncomfortable, and it will impact a lot of people's health. Because this is what Virgo is. It's our day-to-day health and wellness. And it's up to each and every one of us to look at our own lives. And if you're feeling more stressed than you want to be, or things aren't working the way you want them to work, this is your opportunity to take care of yourself And that is, I'll leave us with that. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, engage. I'm here. I'm always here. Namaste, everybody.